Let me show you how to remove the center console sections in an Aston Martin DB9. In this episode of Aston1936.com, I'm going to show you how to remove the center section of the console, so the center console section. Now there's sort of a rear section, which I'm covering in a separate video. There's a front section I'm covering in another video, but in this video I'm going to be talking about removing this center cover and this switch ashtray little parts bin cover. So you might be needing to remove these for a couple of reasons. Maybe you're doing something where you're trying to repair one of the switches or change these over to the glass buttons. Maybe you're trying to take this leather panel off to refinish it. Or maybe, like me, you're actually trying to fit some new electronic stuff in the car and you need to get some wiring routed. And so sneaking it along underneath all these center console sections is what you're after. So no matter what reason it is, it's not a very hard process to do. And it only takes a couple of basic tools and just a couple of minutes. So let's go over to the bench and start talking about the tools. We only need a couple of basic tools to take out the center console. One is a T20 Torx. So I have that in a screwdriver form. I need a number 2 Phillips. That will be handy. It's really unlikely, but if you end up deciding you're going to pry on something, you might need a little blue tape to protect the leather. And in almost every one of my videos, I always have an inspection light and some clean towels just in case I'm getting dirty while I'm at it. So these are really the stars of the show. So let's go and take the center console out. So cameraman Rob and I have shoehorned ourselves in to do some video footage, but we should hopefully get some good shots of taking out the center console. So the first thing we're going to talk about is you have to remove this part of the rear console first, and essentially it's held in with fir tree clips. I have a separate video where I show you how to remove the whole rear center console, but the very first step is prying up the 2 fir tree clips here at these corners. And the reason you have to do that is because we're going to reveal this single T20 screw here. So we're going to remove this T20. And this is the only screw holding this first armrest piece in place. And there may or may not be a washer on yours when you take it out. So now while we're back here looking at it, this piece is going to slide rearward. And you kind of have to, you may have to help it get underneath, because if we pan back, there's a slot at the front, so all we really need to do is pull this backwards. I can feel it jamming up a little bit at the back. So I'm going to probably use a trim tool just to lift it up a bit while I push it back. There we go. And you pull it up and away. And another 1936 reference here. You can see someone's been here before. One of the screws is missing. And this is the lip that catches under here, and it looks like they've also broken off the part that actually hooks into the slot. Wasn't me, it's long gone, because that should be, yeah, that should be the part. Actually, so I guess this goes underneath there, and this is just an alignment tang, but you can see it's chipped. So somebody probably went at this that didn't have an awesome video like this to watch to learn how and just pried away on it. So we can set this aside now. So you can have a look in here now. We can see some of the wiring harness and bits that are sitting here. But we're going to go after this portion of the console next, where the buttons, the ashtray power outlet, these 2 things are. So there's going to be a little bit of wiring under here, but it's really a simple deal of just 2 Phillips screws. You can see somebody's latte spills sitting here, actually, and here from the damn previous owner. So with those screws removed, we should be able to get a little uplift. And these are just held in with tabs. So we're going to lift up a little bit at the back here, because we notice this is also tapered up at the front, so you can't just pull straight back. We kind of have to give it some room. And I'm wiggling it back carefully. And now we're disengaged at the front as well. We don't want to get those tabs scratching up the finish. And now maybe cameraman Rob can ease the camera down under here. Yep. And you can see we've got the electrical connections for each of these switches. So there's a little tab on the opposite side. I'm just pushing towards me here and wiggling it down. And you can see there's the tab I was pushing on. And I'm doing the same on the other side. Same tab. You can see the electrical connections that are not being used here for the different cars that it might have different options, different amounts of buttons. The next thing we have to get down here too is the plugs for the cigarette lighter, the 12-volt adapter in the ashtray. So I've taken that off. And then I believe this one is for the light that makes it glow. So now I have a little more flexibility. The next one is this one for the trunk release button. And then the next one is for the door locks. There we go. So once that releases, I can lift the whole unit away. And you can have a look, you know, what our bounty is. So you can see how this, you know, the leather tray and the whatever this is. I still haven't had anyone explain that to me other than it looks interesting. So, but yeah, there's each of the switches is mounted with a couple of screws. Here's this ashtray assembly with the cigarette lighter or the 12-volt plug, and there's our two buttons. They're all mounted here. So this is some sort of metal, aluminum or something, some sort of pot metal. So this can scratch up your car. So be careful with it. And I guess while we've got this apart, we can have a little look at the bounties. So here's the two connectors that were made. Here's the two for features we don't have. 12-volt outlet, those two buttons. Now on cars that have a Bluetooth option, you may have a light or something here. There may be one more connector that sits up here. My car did not have the Bluetooth option. I don't even have the pre-wire in the car, so anyways, you could watch out for that. But pretty straightforward. It only takes a couple of minutes to get in here. Oh, another reference to 1936 sitting here. Putting it back together is literally just going to be a reversal of the same procedure, right? We're just going to carefully hook this in, hook up each of our wiring connectors, do up our two screws, slip back our panel, and put back our one screw in the back. So I don't think I'm going to do a separate video for that. Well, hopefully that helps you out with your project, and you can get on now with doing whatever you need to do underneath the center console. Down here, you'll probably see a link to my companion blog article where I may have more information about the process. Up here, you'll certainly find my next video in the series, probably something to do with removing the ski slope or removing the rear center console. Down here, if you'd like to subscribe, you'll get automatically notified of all my new videos. And as always, I'd love to hear your comments. Please leave those down below. Thanks for watching.